This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Right, there he is. Ain't it true, Ira, by the way? Good morning, sir. But playing in New York? Oh, buddy. You got to be wired really special to play in New York.
I mean, what you saw last night in that game, the guy had no offensive line, no running game, no receivers, everyone injured, and he was getting destroyed. It was sad. It was cruel, but you know what? It was also freaking freezing. There was a cold rain. Why anyone would want to be out there at the Meadowlands anyway, sitting through that. So everyone was miserable. Big O, as I watched that game, the one takeaway I had was this. How in the hell have the Jets won 7 games? That's crazy.
Oh, they played a lot of backup quarterbacks. Their defense is good, Ira.
It's very good.
They have a really good defense. Quinnen Williams has played absolutely out of his mind this year. So they have lived off of that. And they've got some weapons. When they lost Breece Hall, I think is the kid's name. I mean, he is special. They got somebody.
No, I know that, and they had a good start. But when you watched them last night, that was like an oh my god team. That was probably the worst team in the NFL at that moment. And there's some pretty damn bad teams in the NFL right now. It's really interesting. Both New York teams had great starts, and both are falling off a cliff. I know the Giants held on with their pass interference on Sunday night, but it's like basically the football season ended midway through, and now they're New York Mets season in New York.
They're frauds. The Giants are frauds. The Jets, it was situational stuff that happened to them that gave them those breaks. Overall, they don't have the quarterback right now. Obviously, they've got 4 guys right now, and they don't have any answer, at quarterback. But man, they've got a couple. They've done a pretty good job of drafting and finding some guys. They got a hell of a defense. I think Robert Salah, man, I like the way he's wired.
I like him, yes.
Yeah,
I like him a lot. I like his motivation. I think he's a tough dude. But I also think the best Jets quarterback at the Meadowlands last night was Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he was on the Amazon Prime broadcast team. But that sort of sums that up.
Yeah. It's the Strebler kid. Like you root for somebody like that because that's that blue collar guy that barely hangs on to roster spots and probably practices his ass off and does everything right. And then he's out there and he's just trying to, make some stuff happen, and you got to respect him, man.
You know what? The guy won a Grey Cup with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, so he already had his moment in the sun or in the snow anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And he was playing in his elements. Like, guys, this is nothing.
Right. Yes. You come up to Winnipeg and we'll show you what winter's like. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Don't they call it Winterpeg? I think they call it there because apparently it's like really nasty there all the time.
The tundra of Manitoba. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, wow. There you go. That's crazy stuff. All right. Ira, we started with this. At the quarter of the season, we're going to get a good feel for the team. Well, we're over a third of the season now, Ira. And is this it?
You know what? Big O, the best stat I saw, and Tim Reynolds included this in his Associated Press story the other day, Jimmy Butler has missed 12 of the last 24 games.
I know.
If you're not going to be there, you can't be there as a team. You and I analyzed, we talked about the defense and the offense Wednesday in our RedRecover.com Inside the Paint show. We've spoken about the struggles in our Acura Pembroke Pines report on Monday, and we'll do it again today. But if your team is not there, and so I know that he bristled at the notion that maybe the players are mailing in or don't care, but this is what I would say to you. If I were to strap the lie detector on Heat players, and if I were to ask them this question, is this Miami Heat season the be-all, end-all, and your ultimate focus and mean everything to you in your heart of hearts? I believe the answer with Bam Adebayo would be yes. I believe the answer with Tyler Hero would be yes.
Yes.
I'm not so sure about Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry. I think they've had their moments. If they win, it's okay. If they don't, they'll get by. They have their other interests. They're aging a little. That's the problem. When Pat Riley used to sign older players to contracts, he would sign the players that he knew, whether they were 29 or 35 or 38, it still meant everything to them, bringing in an older Ray Allen, bringing in older players, bringing Alonzo back. Shaq in his 30s. Now I'm not so sure the Heat's older players are necessarily all into the degree they were earlier in their career. That's where you get into trouble being led by an older roster. That's why you have guys missing games. Again, Jimmy Butler, whatever the reason, whether it's necessary or not, look, we cannot feel another man's pain or stomach distress, whatever it might be. You missed 12 of the last 24 games. So what do you expect? You missed 12 of the last 24 games. You're a 500 team. Sort of makes sense, doesn't it, Big O?
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. You miss your best player. So is this matter of do we not know something that they're trying to do? Like they're trying to just pace him? Like, all right, Jimmy, we don't want to kill you throughout the regular season. Maybe the Heat are in on this thing. Because
I'm not saying whether they're in or not in. What I'm saying is
I know.
You have to force Bam Adebayo out of a game. He has done everything and anything until he had to sit last week. The other example I would have is Caleb Martin. When I went to the locker room at the Toyota Center in Houston last Thursday, he looked like a tight end who had got run over 30 times trying to block. The man could barely move. He could barely breathe. I thought he took a shot to the solar plexus, and that's what he was. So when he misses 2 games now, I know if Caleb Martin could play, he would play. But the other guys, this load management is great when you're in first place and 5 games free and clear, when you have home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Big O, I know we already did this with Kurt Heelan on the RedRecover.com Inside the Paint show, but I just want to review it again on today's Acura Pembroke Pines report. I think we all agree Boston, Milwaukee sort of league of their own or close to the top of the East. We're now looking at a Cleveland team that is right there with Milwaukee and Boston. And I know you're not a big believer, but if the Nets continue to play the way they are now, and I know you have your doubts about their defense, but the way the Nets are playing now with Durant and Irving, they look like a top 4 team also. We know the Sixers with Joel Embiid, on any given night, he's going to be the best player on the court. So they can make an argument that's a top 5 right there. Well, all of a sudden, the Heat are fighting for their life with the likes of the New York Knicks just to avoid the play-in. If you would have told me in October when we started the preseason or September in training camp, Ira, the Heat could be a play-in team, I would have told you were nuts. If you were to ask me 2 days before Christmas, Ira, might the Heat be a play-in team? Big O, that's how it's trending. They have to catch the Knicks. There are 5 teams free and clear. This is not good. And if you are pacing yourself now, Big O, what are you pacing yourself for? You're pacing yourself so you'll be ready for a 1-game win or lose, win or out play-in game? You don't pace yourself for that. You go to yourself, holy crap, get your ass on the court. We got to start playing. It's go time now.
Okay, so that's what I was trying to ask you. Are they part of this thing? Are they trying to just save them? Because you see what's going on. You see the record you have. You see the standings. You're just making it even harder on yourself throughout all of this. So is this really that his body just can't hold up anymore? Is that what it is, that the wear and tear has caught up to him? Because I don't care about this stomach shit. You've missed a ton of games before the stomach stuff.
Right.
Has nothing to do with it. So how do we read into this? And my God,
you read into it.
And on Wednesday, season ticket holders have got to be pissed off about
No,
this.
and I'll tell you how to read into it. And obviously, you can get some reaction on your chat board for later in your show. Is this: are the Miami Heat or are the Miami Heat players too arrogant? Oh, it'll be fine. We'll get it back together. We were the number 1 seed last year. Boston was below 500 last December. There's still time. That sort of rings to me of a bit of arrogance. So the question is, are the Heat players being too arrogant and thinking, oh, we'll be ready for later, we'll bring it together? Are the Miami Heat organizationally, by allowing for this rest, too arrogant? I'm going to give you the perfect example. We'll talk about this again Monday on our Acura Pembroke Pines report. We'll talk about it on our RedRecover.com Inside the Paint on Wednesday. Next Friday and Saturday, the Heat play Friday night in Denver at altitude. They play Saturday against the Jazz, the more winnable game. A desperate team plays their players in both games because they've got to win because the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Suns follow. A team that realizes limitations will only play their players in 1 game. And if it was me, I probably would hold everyone out of Denver because they're really freaking good and it's 5,000 freaking feet up there and save them for the more winnable game against the Utah Jazz.
They rarely win there anyways.
Right, but I'm just saying it's the more winnable this year because of where Utah is, even with Markkanen playing great.
Sure.
So I think we're going to get a read on the Heat's arrogance next Friday and Saturday. Are they desperate? Play everyone, win everyone. Do they go into Denver and saying, we'll worry about tomorrow, like Eric Spoelstra always tells us? Or do they say, you know what? We're really not that good. We better get one of these games and then adopt a plan like that. I think next Friday and next Saturday, a week from today and a week from tomorrow, will be very interesting at the start of that 5-game trip.
Tell you, man, because we're coming to the end of the football season soon, and we're going to need
eyes are going to be on them.
Yeah, and neither one of them. I mean, the Panther drop has been even more depressing. I mean, it's just. God,
but it's been similar. It's been similar. I went to the game against the Devils. The Devils are playing on the second night of a back-to-back after playing Carolina the night before and losing. So it's one of those, it sets up perfectly for us. We'll just go out, get a tired team, and then they fall behind and they can't get back, and they tie and they fall behind and they can't get back. To me, there's an arrogance in sports. The Panthers' arrogance, just like the Heat. They won the President's Trophy. We were the best last year. We'll get back to it. And all of a sudden, Big O, that clock keeps ticking. Yeah. And eventually, you and I will be on here on our Acura Pembroke Pines reports in February and March, and you'll go to me, Ira, did the Heat play it a little bit too loose early in the season with those home games, with the favorable schedule? Now, maybe they know something we don't. Maybe Eric Spoelstra's saying, you know what, tonight we're going to get Lowry and Butler back, probably maybe get Caleb Martin back, and then we'll show who we are. But Big O, how many go points have there already been this season? 4-game homestands where we said, okay, this is when the Heat will load up. And then they get bad losses to the Pistons. And then they get bad losses after that, and they're not as sure. So it seems like every time it's go time, there's another stop signal in front of them. Are they willing to run through the wall? I think some of the players are. I cannot honestly tell you on December 23rd, I think all of the players are. And when you get to where they are, it has to be an all or else it becomes a nothing.
Yeah, no, some guy's still really worried about his coffee beans. So listen, here's the other thing, the other side of it. So Jimmy's busted his ass the last couple of years, right? And they've fallen short, unfortunately, at the end, and they've had some really good seasons, overall. And now he wanted his guy Lowry, and it didn't work out last year. And so far, it really isn't working out that much this year either.
It actually worked out last year during the regular season. Then he got injured. If we were to take last year through March, and then, again, you're older, you get injury, his first soft tissue injury. I get all of that. My take on Jimmy Butler is, might he be an every other season player? In other words, he played to the last breath in the bubble. You would agree. Remember when he was leaning over the side against the Celtics? The man was near death. And then they have the season when they finish 6th, then they get swept out of the Bucks. Then he comes back. He's one shot, maybe a little arrogant, but one shot within getting to the NBA Finals. And now he comes back and he's missed 12 of the last 24. Maybe that's what you get, Big O, at 33, 32 years old. You get an every other season player. But the Heat keep telling us we're not an every other season team. That's what it's looking like. It looks like right now the best case scenario for the Heat is the number 5 or 6 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Or are the Heat dealing with two guys that are kind of set in their ways and they're kind of immovable objects? And if they feel like playing, they play. And if they don't feel like playing, they don't play. Because one of the things that at least this is what, you're going to have a better feel because you're around the team a lot more than I am. But when I was there during training camp and they're asking Lowry about the weight questions and all that stuff, to me, the way he's handled it, the way he handled the questions, the way he's gone about it, it's been very nonchalant. Like, I don't give a crap what they think. I don't care what they say or whatever.
I'd agree with the I don't give a crap. I'd agree with the I don't give a crap what they think. I think he gives a crap, but in his own Kyle Lowry way. I do agree with that.
I'm just saying, like, hey, I'm set in my ways. I'm going to do what I do, and I'll be fine. I've done this for, so many years. I don't need any help. I don't need anybody pushing and prodding me. He didn't say it that way, but he carried himself that way. And then Jimmy Butler has always been the guy that goes to the beat of his own drum. So I'm wondering, too, where the Heat are like, well, we really can't get into this fisticuffs with these guys. We can't get into shouting matches with these guys because it's not going to help. So we're kind of at their mercy almost. And so you got to kind of ride it. So I'm just wondering if this is one of those situations that, the Heat have less control than what you think over those top 2 stars.
And I'm going to give you the perfect example. as a parent, whether it's like us as a parent or as a manager or someone like that, you know when and whose buttons you can push. You also know which you can't. I'm going to give you the example. Pat Riley was magnificent at pushing Dwayne Wade's buttons. He would challenge him to lose weight. He would challenge him to change the diet. He would challenge him to change the approach, and it worked. Pat Riley had the kind of relationship with Dwayne Wade, except for that one contract year where it worked. And we saw Dwayne move into every role and get it done. He didn't like being challenged by Pat. Dwayne Wade told us that. He voiced that, but it worked. I don't know if Pat Riley has that type of sway over Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry. And honestly, I don't think he does. Now, this comes at a time when Eric Spoelstra is a little bit more in control, having been in here for almost over a decade and a half. Pat Riley a little less in control. He's moving on. It's a different era. They're different players. But if Pat Riley doesn't have the type of sway with Jimmy and Kyle that he had with Dwayne, then all of a sudden the whole Heat philosophy and the approach sort of goes away. And the players are running the asylum. What Pat did with Dwayne was magnificent. And I think Dwayne will tell you in retrospect, he helped Dwayne be a better person. When Pat Riley tried it with LeBron, smiling emojis and hidden faces and all that stuff, it didn't work at all. The Pat Riley way works with certain players very well. The Pat Riley way doesn't work with others. I think right now he has a couple of doesn't. I think Bam Adebayo would run through a wall for Pat Riley. I think Tyler Hero would run through a wall for Pat Riley. I'm not so sure Jimmy Butler or Kyle Lowry would. They're different type of dudes. So now it becomes more of a Spoelstra thing than a Riley thing, and that changes the dynamic.
Yeah, it's rough. And by the way, nervous about tonight.
Nervous about every night. Nervous about every night. This Heat team never has me going to a game and going, oh my God, they're just going to kill them. They haven't shown that yet. They've lost to the Pistons. They've lost to bad teams at the bottom of the standings. There's no Heat game I go to and I'm going, this will be over by halftime. No, it'll be another clutch game because they all are.
Hornets, they're injured. You still lose to them. You know, it's just like, wow, it's crazy, dude. What's going on?
The Pistons, the Hornets, they barely lost to. They lost to the Wizards in that game. They've lost to plenty of craptastic teams. Now, Sacramento was better than we thought when they lost to them. But, the bad losses are there. But I don't think you can give me one opponent, Big O, and say, hey, the Heat are playing Team X tonight. You got to feel great about it. No, if they're playing the Magic, I'd be worried also. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm always worried about the Magic no matter what. But, right now I would definitely be very worried about the Magic. What are you expecting tonight against the Pacers?
Two teams with the exact same record, 500, trying to get their footing, prove who they are. The last game, the Heat absolutely shut down Tyrese Halliburton. He's listed as questionable tonight. If he plays, he's a game changer. To me, it comes down to this. Who the F are you, Miami Heat? Do you give a crap. You could say something else. These are the games that show it. You can go into a 2-day Christmas break feeling good about yourself, or it could be the same old, where you say now you've got to get back to 500 against Minnesota on Monday. So to me, tonight against Indiana at the arena, call it whatever you want, is a who are you Miami Heat game.
By the way, did you see that mess that not that he wanted to be a part of it, but Tyrese Halliburton, because what was this guy's name?
Serbiak. Wally Serbiak called him out and said he's an all-star and a garbage player. And you know what? That's just what we've seen. It's everywhere. That's just bloviating for bloviating. Tyrese Halliburton is one of the great young players in the NBA. And you get caught up in the bravado saying how good the Knicks are and that Jalen Brunson's the best point guard since Mark Jackson in New York. And you get tangential and you wind up with that. Just like when Eddie House, our good friend, does Celtics games and he called the Magic absolute garbage. And then the Magic beat the Celtics again the next night. So you know what? Be careful what you wish. And I will say this, Big O.
By the way, Halliburton is that guy bragging about himself and that should be a
quiet, he's self-respecting and all that.
Why is Serbiak saying that? It's like
you got to say stuff. Because you got to say stuff, and because it shows some people are out of the loop. And also this year, it is so competitive. Everyone's 500, or in the West, every team's with a game and a half in first place. It's that competitive. I wouldn't get down on anyone because it could change in a heartbeat.
It's crazy, man. I felt bad for Halliburton. It's like, no, man, I didn't ask to be in this. Like,
he got done dirty. You're absolutely right, Big O.
It's terrible. All right, follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat, and please subscribe to the South Florida Sun Sentinels. Support Ira and all the terrific writers there at the Sun Sentinel. He does an excellent job of covering the Heat every single day. Ira, as always, thank you, my friend. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll catch up on Monday.
Monday, another Acura Pembroke Pines report. Appreciate it. Thank you, Big O. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Happy holidays. There you go. The great Ira Winderman. I am nervous about tonight because I'm always nervous. He's right about every opponent now for the Miami Heat. And I'm really nervous because I don't know if I almost feel like those guys are controlling everything right now. And this is the result of what's going on. And look, this was Jimmy's call to bring in Lowry. And this is why management needs to be, management. And they don't need to go to the players. Hey, what do you like? What do you want? No, screw that, dude. They don't know what's best. They think they know what's best. But if you're management, you're supposed to be thinking objectively. Players will always be thinking emotionally. And that's the problem. That's why a lot of even former players can't do the jobs at times because they're not objective enough. They're too emotional. Remember what happened a year and a half ago? Most of you got emotional with me on X. And I told you, you got to compartmentalize. Check it out, right? He's always got off the field issues. He's dealt with injuries all the time. And he's also always crying about money. There's always something. Now's the time to do it. It's a high right now. He's coming off a great year. Go trade him. Go get a bunch of picks. But you get emotional. Fans get emotional. And that's the problem. You got to get your heart out of the equation. And you got to use your mind and say, what is the best thing to do right now for my family, for my corporation, for my team, for myself, whatever it is. That's how you've got to make decision. And it's really hard for all of us, myself included, when there are emotions involved. It's really difficult. And that's where the Heat got screwed. They listen to their player that they love in Jimmy Butler, who has given them their all. And then he goes and he listens to his heart. And he says, let me go get my brother, the godfather of my child, Kyle Lowry, who really is not in position to really help you win a championship. And he's realized that now. And that's why I think he's taken 12 out of the last 24 games off. Because he realizes he effed up and, oh, man, I got to pace myself because I'm going to need a fresh body when I get to the playoffs to carry my team and carry my buddy who can't help me. Because deep down inside, Jimmy Butler knows that the heart, the emotion got the best of him because he made a terrible decision in bringing Kyle Lowry here and putting himself in a corner that the final years that he had left are ruined because he added Kyle Lowry to this roster and crippled the cap. That's your Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report.